Hello friends, you all know about diabetes. So diabetes is diagnosed once the fasting blood glucose and postprandial blood glucose are elevated, typically fasting blood glucose more than 100 and postprandial blood glucose more than 140, HbA1C, that is 90 days of average of blood glucose, if that is more than 6.5, it is suggestive of diabetes. But by the time people develop diabetes, it may be too late. And also, you know that once somebody develops diabetes, about half of them or more than half, they require lifelong medications. And so reversal of type 2 diabetes is not that easy. So are there some biochemical changes which one can monitor, which can give a clue that a person is more likely to develop diabetes in the future? So you all must have heard of a term called as prediabetes. So that is supposed to be a precursor of diabetes, and that is again diagnosed based on the fasting blood glucose and HbA1c. So a person with fasting blood glucose between 100 to 125 or HbA1c between 5.7 and 6.4, that is referred to as prediabetes. So of course, if somebody has prediabetes, they can take precautions, and it is possible to prevent the conversion of prediabetes to diabetes, and many people can convert to normal also, means the HbA1c can become normal. Now, is there something else which we can monitor? If your HbA1c is even, let's say, below 5.6, so it is in the normal range, can it still be abnormal? So there is a term what we call insulin resistance. So today I will mainly talk about insulin resistance and how we can diagnose it. So basically it means that for the same amount of glucose intake, a person needs to produce higher amount of insulin, so that is insulin resistance or lower insulin sensitivity. So to diagnose, you need to do 4 blood tests in the fasting state, that is 8 hours of fasting. So one is serum insulin, second is fasting blood glucose. Then in the lipid profile there are 2 tests that are required. One is serum triglycerides, and then the last is HDL cholesterol. So you should have these 4 values ready. And then there are 3 tests we normally do. One is called as HOMA IR, that is Homeostasis Model Assessment Insulin Resistance. In short, it is called HOMA IR. On the net, you'll get the calculators. So this is based on the 2 values. We need serum insulin and the fasting blood glucose. And if it is more than 2, it is suggestive of insulin resistance. Then other simpler parameter that can be used is something called as triglyceride to HDL cholesterol ratio. And that is easy because both these values you can get from your lipid profile test. So once you find the ratio, so put the triglyceride on top and HDL cholesterol below. If that ratio is more than 2, it's a surrogate marker of insulin resistance. So basically, lower the triglycerides and higher the HDL cholesterol, better it is for you. In a person who is metabolically healthy, in fact, triglycerides would be lower. It may be, both may be equal, so that is a ratio of 1. And the most healthy individuals, the triglycerides may be even lower than the HDL cholesterol may be higher and triglycerides may be lower. So the ratio becomes less than 1. So this ratio also lower it is, better it is indicative of. And the third index that we can look at is that is called as triglyceride glucose index, in short TYG. And for that, as the term indicates, we need the serum triglyceride and the fasting glucose values. And again, there are calculators on the net which can be used to calculate it, and it may differ from lab to lab, but generally if it is 4.5 or 4.7 or above, then it is suggestive of insulin resistance. So now in the future, if your HbA1c and fasting blood glucose are normal, you could still check for insulin resistance by using these 3 parameters, that is HOMA IR, the triglyceride to HDL ratio and triglyceride glucose index. And if it is on the higher side and it is suggestive of insulin resistance, then definitely you can take care by reducing the carbohydrate intake and then increasing exercise amount, both aerobic exercise and strength training. And if you are overweight or obese, then reducing weight also would help. And then by taking all these measures, you can definitely become better, reduce the risk of developing diabetes in future, and as well as metabolic syndrome in the future.